Sergeants, if we could begin to call the other members and tell them that their presence is needed in the council chambers. I want to thank the members of today's on-time caucus. That would be Mr. Garcetti, LaBonge, Mr. Parks, Ms. Perry. Sergeants, please call the other members. Sergeants, if we could please get on the phone, call the members of the council. Okay. All right, good morning. It's Wednesday, March 28th. I want to welcome all of you to City Hall. We meet on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 10 a.m. All of our meetings are open to the public. And again, I want to welcome all of our guests that are here today. It is my understanding that we do have a quorum. With that said, Mr. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Alarcon, Buscaino, Cardenas, Englander, Garcetti, Weezer, Koretz, Krikorian, Labange, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Rosendahl, Zion, Wesson. 10 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
All righty. First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Okay, Mr. Parks moves, Mr. Labange seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Mr. Koretz moves, Mr. Garcetti seconds. And that would bring us where?
Mr. President, that brings us to items 1 through 5. They are items noticed for public hearing. We do have cards in on item number 4, sir.
Members, any specials? Okay, on the remaining items, let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
And
Next
Mr.
item.
Pardon me, sir.
Yes.
For clarification, items 1 through 3 were ordinances. If they are not reconsidered when 12 members are present, they will go over to next week for second read.
Yes, I understand.
Very good,
okay,
sir.
Let's move on to the next set of agenda items.
Items 6 through 10 are items for which public hearings have been held.
All right, members, specials. We are on items 6 through 10 specials. Okay, on those, let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Next, Mr. Clerk.
Items 11 through 20 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Without objection, those items are before us. Ms. Perry.
I would like to call 16 special, please.
Ms. Perry, item 16. Mr. Koretz.
Mr. President, I'd like to call item 15 special.
Mr. Koretz, item 15. Any more? Then on this, let us, Mr. Clerk.
Pardon me, sir. Mr. President, we do have cards on items 11, 12, 14, 17, and 18.
Okay, so on the remaining items, let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote. So again, on those items, let's open the roll, close,
19 and 20.
close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Okay. That moves us, Mr. Clerk, to closed session items. Since the Chair of Budget and Finance is not here as of yet, let's hold those on the desk. Mr. Labange.
With approval of the clerk and granted by the President, forthwith number 12 and number 19.
Forthwith.
Thank you.
Okay, it's my understanding, Ms. Perry, that you have a special, if we could... In which item?
16. This is item 16.
Item 16.
Are you going to stand next to me, okay?
Yes.
Yeah, just stand, everybody stand together. Here, you go on this side, too. And come up. Yeah, come up here.
Councilmember
Yeah.
Perry, it's 75. Is that what the reward amount is for?
reinstating the,
For 70,
where is it? Yeah, 75,
for
yes.
75.
Yes, okay, thank you. This is regarding item 16, and I am joined here today by family and friends of Clifton Hibbert Jr. and Kenneth Patterson. I believe, is the detective here?
Yes.
Detective, come on up. Detective Geiger of Los Angeles Police Department Southwest Division to ask for the public's help. On Friday, March 29th, 2008, shortly before 2 a.m., Clifton Hibbert Jr., who was then 22 years old, and Kenneth Patterson, who was 23 years old, were murdered at 42nd and Figueroa in South Los Angeles. The police believe that they have been victims of a robbery-related homicide. And today, I will ask all of you to vote to reinstate the reward for up to $75,000 for any information leading to the identification of the person or people responsible for the deaths of these two young men. We're all here today to ask for your help in finding the person or people responsible for this unimaginable act of violence. It is a crime against our entire community and these respective families. And so we rise together as a community to work together to find the person before they hurt another family member, mother, father, sister, brother, or child. These young men had their entire lives ahead of them, and they were working hard to build a future for themselves. In fact, Clifton was an aspiring lawyer who was a few weeks away from earning his college degree at Cal State University, Northridge. This is a terrible tragedy for the families of these young men. Our hope is that by shining a light on this heinous crime and reinstating this reward motion of $75,000, we will remind people and encourage witnesses to come forward. If you saw something or have any information that could help our detectives, please call Southwest Detectives Office at 213-485-1383. There's also a toll-free number. It's 1-877-LAWFUL. That's 1-877-LAWFUL. You can call anytime, day or night, and leave a tip. With your help, you will aid the police in doing their jobs and capturing this person to see that they are arrested and prosecuted for this atrocious crime. And I encourage all of you to be in dialogue with your friends and your family and your neighbors and our police officers, because we will be able to overcome this if we work in partnership. We have done so in the past, and we have to continue to do this to ensure that the people who are responsible for the deaths of Clifford Hibbert Jr. and Kenneth Patterson can be captured and taken off of our streets. It will never be too late to find justice for these young men and their families. Please call us and help us in this effort. And now I will ask if you...
Ms. Barrett, yeah, in fact, I want to let you know that two members would like to speak as well.
Oh, okay.
So, Mr. Englander.
Go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to say my condolences to the family and the friends. But I also wanted to thank Ms. Perry for bringing this forward to reinstate this reward. But my message was more to the media. I'd like for them, if they would, if they're listening, to cover this, if they could, if they cover anything at all today, that they cover this. The fact that we're going to vote to reinstate this reward motion, but to put the facts out there. Somebody knows something. Somebody should step forward to make sure not only that justice is done, but to ensure this doesn't happen to another loved one. Because anybody who is going to commit a heinous crime like this will continue to do so. And so we need to take these folks off the streets. And so thank you, Ms. Perry, for bringing the family forward and doing this today. I truly appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Reyes.
Thank you, Council President. One, I wanted to ask, I didn't get it clearly, on what street did this occur, or what's the location where this occurred?
42nd and Figueroa.
42nd and Figueroa. So I know there's thousands of people that listen to this Channel 35. If those who are listening can respond. You know, for 11 years I've been sitting at this chair, and we have these incidents that occur. And I know for every council member, this kind of crime is very important. But it's so crucial that Councilmember Perry does allow us to hear from this, but to the family, you need to know that every case is an important case, and that we are here to support you. And I want to thank Councilman Perry, because we will vote to support this. But more importantly, my heartfelt condolences to this tragedy, to the family. But more importantly, that you have the courage to continue fighting, and you're not giving up, and let them know that this is important, and his memory will not fade away until we have justice. So for that, I thank you.
Ms. Perry.
I am the mother for Clifton Hebert Jr., and it's very painful. It's not easy for me. Cliff was, he supported people, his friends. He was an encourager in the community. He was a really positive role model. He graduated from Santa Monica High School, and after graduation, he went straight to Cal State Northridge. He had a dream to make a difference with young men, with people in his community. After he passed away, I met a young lady in the community where I live, and she said, "I remember your son," because he was helping a young man who could not fill out an application to enter into college. My son was doing that for him. He was a mentor. He saw the good in people. And that is what I'm hoping, that the community will see the good in themselves with this reward that you have given us. Thank you very much.
Yes, I am. I just wanted to thank you guys. My brother Clifton Hebert Jr. Yes, it was him. It was his life that was taken, and I do want whoever is responsible, whoever knows anything about this crime, to come forward and to speak up and just to give information to the police, because we do believe in this justice system. We were born here, we love this country, and Cliff was just such a wonderful person in society. He was just a wonderful brother. He was my best friend, and my life, of course, has forever changed. But I do believe that we will find a resolve to this, and that I am optimistic and I am open-minded, and I just thank everyone here at the City Council's office, Councilwoman Jan Perry, and all of you. Thank you so much for reinstating this reward. It really means a lot to us. I also thank the detectives that are also on the case, and I also wanted to thank all the support that we have regarding my brother's sudden death. So I do thank you. We just want to be a voice for those who are voiceless.
May God give you strength. Mr. Labange.
Ms. Perry, thank you. I know you're going to call the detective up, Ms. Perry.
No, he's fine.
Well, would the detective want to add anything that you wanted to?
He didn't feel that he needed to speak. I'm going to close by reading the telephone number one more time.
Thank you, Ms. Perry. I want to just say to the family that life is very fragile and so sad, and we stand in reverence of you. We do a lot of business, and nothing's more important than life, and you lost that life in a tragic way, and we hope someone will hear this message to respond to it. Thank you.
And again, before we close, I would like to read the phone number again. Southwest Detectives Office, 213-485-1383. That is 485-1383. Please help us.
Okay, members, it's appropriate that we vote at this time. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Thank you.
Mr. President, we do have 12 members present at this time. Would you like to reconsider the ordinances? Those are items 1 through 3.
Okay, let's vote right now to reconsider those items. So let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Those items are now before us. So We're voting on the items, so let's again open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote. And now
12 ayes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And now that we do have Mr. Krikorian on items 21 and 22, did you just want to dispense with those, or do we? What is your fancy? And Mr. Garcetti, if you could get ready.
Thank you, Mr. President. Number 21, the Budget and Finance Committee recommends rejection of a settlement demand by the plaintiff consistent with the City Attorney's recommendation. We can dispose of that in open session. Item 22, I believe, should be considered in closed session.
Okay, so on item 21, let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote. And now to Mr. Garcetti for an introduction.
12 ayes.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. As we know, the city of Los Angeles is an Anglicization of Los Angeles, which in Spanish means the angels. And there's another city of the angels across the ocean, Krung Thep, also known as Bangkok. It is also in Thai the City of Angels, and like us it has a much longer name which includes that Krung Thep in it. But today we have a great opportunity together with the Thai community here to welcome your counterpart, Mr. President, and your counterparts, members of the Council, the Bangkok Metropolitan Council, whose chair is here, as well as 5 members of the Council. Together with the Thai Community Development Corporation and Chansi Martirel, who leads that great organization, and our Thai Consul General, Damarong Kraikron, and a former Consul General as well, Insinthorn, who is here as well, to celebrate a very important date and a holiday and festival that comes to us each year that we invite you to here in Los Angeles. Thai New Year 2012, the 9th Songkran Festival taking place this Sunday on April 1st. And this is no April Fool's joke. It is going to happen April 1st. This festival will comprise parades. I'm very honored to be serving as Grand Marshal this year, demonstrating Thai culture and tradition, various Thai agency booths, as well as arts and cultural performances. We usually have all sorts of opportunities there right on Hollywood Boulevard to enjoy an incredible festival. And this is a city of festivals, a city of great cultures. And our Thai community, which is the largest Thai community outside of Thailand, embraces this City of Angels as well. So we are very honored to have the chairman, and I'm going to pronounce his name, Mr. Sutichai Wirakul Suntorn, who is here, the chairman of the Bangkok Metropolitan Council, the 4 members who have accompanied him as well. And this is the equivalent, as I mentioned, of our council president. Our city has enjoyed a great relationship with representatives from Thailand as well as Angelenos with Thai roots. The city of Los Angeles established here in these chambers Thai Town in 1999, and the Thai community has thrived. And this Thursday, the Thai Community Development Center tomorrow and the Thai Consulate will plant trees and break ground on the completion of the Thai Town Gateway that will include the final bronze Aponsi angel sculptures which greet folks when they come into Thai Town. And the growing Thai American community is excited to continue the tradition of promoting and showcasing Thai culture, adding to the cultural richness of our diverse city. And it's an occasion for Thai Americans to celebrate Thai New Year, or Songkran, as it is called in Thai. It's the traditional Thai New Year that starts on April 13th every year, lasts for 3 days. And Songkran is a Thai word for move or change place. Just as we celebrated recently with the Persian community the beginning of the new year with Nowruz, it is a time for renewal and recommitment, a day when the sun changes its position in the zodiac. But it's also known as the Water Festival, as Thais believe that water will wash away bad luck. And Songkran tradition is recognized as a valuable custom for Thai society, as brings families together to honor their elders by presenting gifts to them. And I don't think it's any reflection of your age, but I know that there are gifts for all of you in the City Council today from the Thai community. And the elders in turn then wish the next generation luck and prosperity and a great occasion to promote community unity in a celebratory atmosphere. So I'm going to ask our great city commissioner and a great leader, not only in the Thai community but throughout Los Angeles, Chansi Martirel, my friend who heads up the Thai CDC, to say a few words and to introduce our Consul General and the President of the Council from Bangkok. Thank you. Absolutely.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilman Garcetti. That was a fabulous introduction. Very, very thorough and very eloquent. Well stated, well spoken. Thank you, honorable council members and Mr. President, for having us here today in City Council chambers. Today is indeed a very historic moment because you are meeting your counterparts from the city of Bangkok, and they are here on the occasion, as Councilman Garcetti mentioned, of the Thai New Year's Day Songkran Festival, which I hope all of you will be able to attend on April 1st, this Sunday, and also here to continue to support the Thai community's efforts to advance its material and social goals, especially in promoting Thai Town, the only one in this nation, and trying to really boost the economic the local economy and also tourism in the area, and hopefully extend also welcome to everyone to Thai Town, because it is an area that will promote and showcase Thai culture. And I'd like to now introduce Council General Damrong Kraikruen, who is outgoing but has been just an amazing associate working with the Thai community and advocating for resources and services and programs, as well as helping us develop the area. So Council General Damrong Kraikruen, who we're going to miss but will fondly remember, will be speaking to introduce the President or Chair of the Bangkok Metropolitan Council.
Mr. Chairman, the honorable members of the City Council, it's a privilege for me to speak, before you and to introduce to you the delegation, of the City of Bangkok. The delegation today comprised of 6 members of the City Council of Bangkok, led by the President himself, and then we have officials. We have journalists, joining the party. They are here to establish, relationship between 2 cities and to celebrate the Songkran Thai New Year Festival. With much further ado, I'd like to present to you the President of the City Council of Bangkok, Mr. Suthichai Virakul Sunthorn. Thank you.
ท่านประธานสภาลอสแอนเจลิสแล้วก็ท่านสมาชิกสภาลอสแอนเจลิส
Mr. Chairman and the honorable members of the City Council of the City of Los Angeles
ในนามสภากรุงเทพมหานครผมรู้สึกยินดีและเป็นเกียรติอย่างยิ่งที่ได้มีโอกาสพบท่านและคณะสมาชิกสภา LA ในวันนี้
On behalf of the City Council of Bangkok, it is a great pleasure and honor for me to meet all of you members of the City Council of Los Angeles here today.
นับว่าเป็นเกียรติอย่างยิ่งที่ท่านที่ทางคณะของเราได้มีโอกาสได้มาเห็นการประชุมสภาที่ LA ซึ่งเป็นครั้งแรกที่เราทางคณะของเราไม่เคยได้มีโอกาสได้มาเห็นการประชุมในวันนี้ครับ
It is a privilege for our delegation to witness the proceedings of the City Council of Los Angeles. It is the first time event for all of us. It's eye-opener for the Thai delegation.
โดยเฉพาะนครลอสแอนเจลิสนะครับเป็นเมืองที่คนไทยใฝ่ฝันที่อยากจะมาที่นี่และเป็นเมืองที่มีสภาพแวดล้อมที่ดีนะครับแล้วก็หลากหลายวัฒนธรรม
The city of Los Angeles is a dream city for many Thai people. They all wish to come to the city. It is a city with good environment, green, and with diversity of culture.
และนครลอสแอนเจลิสจึงเป็นที่นิยมสำหรับคนไทยที่ที่ได้เดินทางมาเยือนแล้วก็ศึกษาต่อที่นี่
Los Angeles is a popular destination and city for the Thai people to come visit and study here in the U.S.
และก็โดยเฉพาะนะครับนอกจากความหมายของชื่อเมืองกรุงเทพและนครลอสแอนเจลิสที่มีลักษณะเหมือนกันนั่นคือเมืองแห่งเทพธิดา City of Angel นะครับ
First of all, the meaning of the city of Bangkok and the city of Los Angeles is the same. That is the city of angels.
นครลอสแอนเจลิสจะเป็นที่ตั้งของชุมชนไทยที่มีขนาดใหญ่ที่สุดในประเทศ
Los Angeles is home to the largest Thai community outside Thailand.
ซึ่งจะเป็นตัวเชื่อมสำคัญในการส่งเสริมกิจกรรมความร่วมมือระหว่างลอสแอนเจลิสและกรุงเทพมหานครต่อไป
Which would be a good linkage and a bridge that would strengthen cooperation between the city of Los Angeles and Bangkok.
ผมมั่นใจว่าความสัมพันธ์ระหว่างสภาและเมืองทั้งสองจะแนบแน่นและยั่งยืนจากความเชื่อมสัมพันธ์ไมตรีจิตที่ดีที่จะเกิดขึ้นในวันนี้
I'm confident the relationship between the two cities will be further strengthened and will sustain from the cooperation and goodwill that has been cultivated today.
แล้วก็ทางผมในฐานะประธานสภากรุงเทพมหานครก็ขอเชิญท่านประธานสภาลอสแอนเจลิสและก็สมาชิกสภาลอสแอนเจลิสนะครับไปเยือนที่กรุงเทพมหานครและจะให้การต้อนรับอย่างดียิ่งครับ
On my behalf and on behalf of the delegation of the City Council of Bangkok, I would like to extend an invitation to the President, members of the City Council to visit Bangkok. We'll extend the warmest hospitality to all of you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. We want to welcome you here. Welcome you to our great council chambers, and maybe we'll have Mr. Labange lead a delegation to Bangkok. Anyway,
thank you
Mr.
very much.
Labange.
We have a friendship city with Bangkok. We certainly represent a great response. Council General, give him a big hand. He's being promoted, and he leaves us after this event on Sunday. All of the delegation stand up, especially those in the nice jackets. And we want to salute the delegation from Thailand, also in Los Angeles, and the great publisher of the newspaper, Kampung Kap. This is the great thing about our city. It's diversity. And from people could come here to this city and make an impact, an economic impact, a cultural impact, a human impact is very important. So I want to certainly welcome everybody again, along with Mr. Garcetti, who does a great job. And Mr. President, I wanted to say to you, when 10 years ago, they especially made a line to keep Thai Town in Mr. Garcetti's district. That's how much he loves Thailand and Thai people. And this time, he moved it up to the next boulevard because his arms are so big to try to get it all. Kampung Kap. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Krikorian.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's, as is the case with so many nationalities, Los Angeles is home to the largest Thai community outside of Thailand. And much of that population is centered in Thai Town. I'm privileged to represent the first and largest Thai temple in all of America, Wat Thai, which is at the corner of Coldwater Canyon and Roscoe. And I would invite anyone in the San Fernando Valley or anyone in Los Angeles to join the congregants at Wat Thai to celebrate Songkran, April 12th to the 15th. It really is a magnificent place, and I want to welcome all of the representatives from Bangkok here, a city that I've had the pleasure to visit, a wonderful city that we have a very strong relationship with here, and all of the members of the Thai American community as well. I'd like to extend to them a very happy New Year, and I'll try this. Sawat Di Pimai. So, thank you.
Well done, Mr. Krikorian. Okay, Mr. Garcetti.
Briefly say Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you, and we welcome everybody. And I did want to also reiterate what Mr. Laban said. Our Consul General, Damarong Krakruan, who is going to be leaving, has had an extraordinary run here. This Sunday, he'll be his last public event, and then he's going back, called back to the Foreign Ministry. But his friendship, when I visited Bangkok, and he made sure that I was able to meet with members of the Council and the Governor of Bangkok, the Foreign Minister, his leadership here has really made sure that these two cities of angels are forever intertwined with each other. So congratulations to him, and thank you, Mr. Chair, for being here, and there are presents for all the Council as well from our colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President, the delegation also has a gift to the City of Los Angeles. Would you like them to present it here?
If I could get Mr. Reyes, if I could get you to sit in the chair, I'd be honored to accept this for the City of Los Angeles.
เรือสุวรรณหงส์ที่ทำด้วยแฮนด์เมดสวยมากเป็นไม้สักนะครับ
Pandahong. This is Supandahong. It's the royal barge, in Thailand, used by the king when he traveled, in waterways, in Thailand in the old days. And it's very famous, it's a top class of, art pieces. It's made of teak wood, the famous, wood, in Thailand.
Very, very beautiful.
Yes, very beautiful. Thank you. On behalf of the City of Los Angeles, it is with honor that I accept this. Thank you. But I'm going to ask Mr. Garcetti to take it right now. Thank you, Mr. President.
Just this one is personal gift.
Thank you. This one is for me.
Thailand หัวโขน
traditional drama.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
My name is
Everybody straight.
So, let's be clear, 2 years ago we announced what they want to build on that country. So I am going to continue to prioritize transparency.
Thank you.
May I have everyone look at me too, please? And the process allows us. Just one picture. That's one of the else I need to say, right? I'm talking about the exuberance of the spirit.
They also have individual gifts for each council member. So go ahead. Yes. So we'd like to present individual gifts to the council members.
You ready, Ed? Again, if we could give another round of applause to our very special visitors that are with us today. And I will ask Mr. Ed Reyes to go to the podium. Mr. Garcetti, if you could take your group into the back. We have one final presentation. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for the lovely gifts that you've given to the city and to each and every one of us. Thank you so very much. Mr. Garcetti.
If we can ask everybody to come after this one.
นตามเลยฮะทั้งหมดเลยฮะทางนู้นด้วยฮะ
He's asking me to. Sorry, he said he would.
Set it aside. Take a moment.
Am I allowed to take pictures with my phone? Okay, I'll take pictures with my phone.
Mr. Reyes, whenever you're ready.
Okay, Council President, colleagues, thank you for this opportunity to present to you the Big Read program. It is an annual program of the National Endowment for the Arts, sponsored by the Department of Cultural Affairs, City of LA. Olga Garay, her stewardship, her department, her staff have done a great job. This is its 4th year. It's designed to restore reading to the center of American culture and to emphasize the need to read on a daily basis. As you all know, reading for us has, well, before videos and all these technology, some of us back in the day actually went to encyclopedias, opened it up and read. And for some of us, at least for myself, I remember going to the supermarket, instead of walking home with my parents, I sat down in the encyclopedia section and pulled out a book and started reading it. And that was my way of staying focused, not getting in trouble, because quite frankly, my parents couldn't buy that encyclopedia. So supermarkets are very, very fun. But I find myself getting an English degree from UCLA and my master's in urban planning and architecture. It all begins with that fascination of reading. So as you know, for us, especially today, we need that discipline to read to be competitive. It's a sad state of affairs when our UC systems, our Cal State systems are actually going out to bring in students who can pay higher fees as long as they're not from the state. So we here in the state, those of us who grew up in this great city and state of California, have to compete. And to compete, we have to read. So we know that it will stimulate your cognitive abilities. Reading makes you more creative and imaginative. It improves your grasping of skills and sharpens your analyzing and problem-solving abilities. It essentially allows that knowledge to make you more confident. And by reading about other people's lives and experiences, you become a better decision maker, given your grasp for understanding other people's perspectives. So this year, we are highlighting one book. It's called Their Eyes Were Watching God. It's a 1937 novel. It's best known work by African-American writer Zora Neale Hurston. Over the decades, this book has been regarded by some as a seminal work in both African-American literature and women's literature. So today we are joined by Olga Garay from the Cultural Affairs Department, who continues to spearhead this amazing program. And behind me are the wonderful students of Urban Day American Middle School. So let's welcome them with a big round of applause. Welcome. All good, it's all yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Reyes. I just wanted to say that just a minute ago we had the delegation from Thailand, and what we're trying to do with the Big Read program is not just teach kids how to read great literature, but how to read different cultures. Last year we focused on the Joy Luck Club, which is set in Chinatown. Before that we did Sun, Moon, and Shadows, which is Mexican short stories. This year their eyes were watching God, and next year we're going to bring in The Thief and the Dogs by an Egyptian writer. We're thrilled that we're working with 6 schools, 15 libraries, Sony Pictures Media Academy, 5 community-based centers. We're going to be at the LA Times Festival of Books, and over 2,000 young people will be reading Their Eyes Were Watching God. So with your support and enthusiasm, we're trying to get federal dollars to bring to this town and to make April Literacy Month from now forward. So thank you so much for entertaining us, and thank you so much for the California African American Museum, the Chinese American Museum are both participating. They're here, the kids are here. So thank you all for taking the time to hear us today.
Thank you.
So all the students can just wave to the camera, let them know you were here. All right, guys. So congratulations, and Los Angeles Big Read Literary Month. Olga, thank you for your hard work. And all the sponsors and all supporters for this great event. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Congratulations. And again, thank you, Mr. Reyes. Mr. Koretz, were you ready? Because I know there was a request made to take item 15. Or do you want to wait until public
No,
comment?
I'm ready for item 15, and I'd ask that we allow a few folks that are here to speak first.
Okay, Mr. Koretz, we have one card on that. If you have some other individuals in particular that you wanted to introduce or what have you, now would be the appropriate time. Or do you want me to give you some time? I can begin public comment. You can sort this out, and then we can come back to you.
How about, excuse me, how about I begin saying what I'm going to say, and we sort out who else will be the speakers.
Okay, we're on item 15. The floor is yours, Mr. Koretz.
Thank you, Mr. President. A little history. It took Ohio's Cuyahoga River catching fire in Cleveland in the summer of 1969 for people on both sides of the aisle in Congress to realize that we needed to actively and legislatively take care of our rivers and watersheds. In 1972, a bipartisan Congress overruled the veto by President Nixon and enacted the groundbreaking Clean Water Act, establishing water quality for rivers, lakes, streams, and wetlands. In the first 3 decades, the quality of the nation's waters improved dramatically. More than 60% of lakes and 55% of rivers were brought up to meet the Act's water quality standards for fishing and swimming. The Act achieved these successes while respecting the needs of farmers, ranchers, other businesses, and communities to make productive use of water resources. However, 2 Supreme Court opinions in 2001 and 2006 weakened the Clean Water Act. And on June 1st, 2009, EPA staff reported that under those rulings, approximately 59% of the nation's stream miles and 20% of its remaining wetlands are at risk of losing protections. Waters now at risk under the court's decisions include streams that supply public drinking water systems serving more than 111 million Americans, a total of over 5,000 public water supply systems, including ours in the city of Los Angeles. And there's a current bill by Senator Rand Paul, Senate Bill 2122, which seeks to weaken the act even further, will diminish the protection of wetlands and water quality. Our annual snowpack in the Sierra Nevadas is becoming less reliable, and so we need to focus on clean water protections to preserve our water here in Los Angeles. We need to do things like support the state effort to ban polystyrene food containers, and here at home, by banning plastic bags in Los Angeles, we can also move in the right direction. So I ask that you support this resolution, and mention that Councilmember Huizar, who couldn't be here as the seconder, also wanted to say that he gives his full support to this measure.
Thank you, Mr. Koretz. Mr. Rosendahl.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, and thank you, Mr. Koretz, for putting this motion forward. Senator Rand Paul's Defense of Environment Property Act of 2012 is not a defense, frankly. It would undermine the federal government's ability to implement regulations under the Clean Water Act. This bill has serious negative implications to our local waterways, including the Ballona Creek and the coastal wetlands and estuaries, all in my district. This bill also has a negative implication of the Los Angeles River and my colleague Ed Reyes's tireless efforts to revitalize this urban waterway. The Federal Clean Water Act is vitally important to ensuring clean drinking water as well as protecting wildlife and agriculture in the state and local waterways. How dare the federal government try to undermine the quality of our waterways? I strongly oppose this bill. And again, thank you, Mr. Koretz, for putting this forward. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Rosendahl. Okay, so I've got some comment cards from the public. I've got a Sean Carroll and a Craig Cadwalader. If you guys would please come forward, followed by Matt Dowd. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. My name is Sean Carroll. I'm the Federal Field Associate for Environment California. And I just want to speak very quickly about some of the public support that we've seen from elected officials and from citizens across the state for restoring the Clean Water Act. First, I want to thank Councilmember Koretz for introducing this resolution. Environment California is a statewide environmental advocacy group, and we have a network of 200,000 citizens, members, and email activists across the state. This has been one of our top priorities, and just this last week we released this report called Wasting Our Waterways, and it shows that in California, industrial facilities dump over 2 million pounds of toxic chemicals into our waterways. And the real problem with this is that because of loopholes in the Clean Water Act, we don't know how bad this pollution is. So just like the council member said, over 50% of our waterways are unprotected. So we don't know how bad the pollution is or the effects that it's having. And we have support from not only citizens across the state, but tons of elected officials. I wanted to very quickly read a few statements from some local elected officials on this report that we released last week. So Congresswoman Lucille Roybal Allard said that, as a native Angelino, I've always believed in the vision of a vibrant and green Los Angeles River. Los Angeles River has the potential to be a significant environmental asset to our community, and its restoration and preservation will help both the economy and the environment. Congressman Waxman, representing Santa Monica, said that this report is a wake-up call. Too much toxic pollution is being dumped into California waterways, and new efforts are needed to ensure all our waterways are protected. I'm not going to read the rest of these comments, but they include statements of support from Assemblymember Julia Brownlee, as well as the head of the California Democratic Congressional Caucus, Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren. And I would just say that doing work organizing in the city of Los Angeles myself for the last 7 years, we know that clean air is a huge issue. Clean water is probably the second biggest issue.
Thank you
so much for your time.
Mr. Cadwalader, followed by Matt Dowd, and then we'll go to the Valley for Rick Nightingale. Yes, sir.
Good morning. My name is Craig Cadwalader, and thank you for seeing me, Mr. President and council members. I'm here representing the Surfrider Foundation South Bay chapter. Our territory runs from San Pedro up to Marina del Rey, and I strongly encourage you to support this resolution The erosion of all the environmental protection measures we have is really shameful. We've made progress and now we're backing up, and I don't understand it. It seems we're going in the wrong direction. Only this Sunday, I'm taking a group of high school students to do water sampling in the Ballona wetlands, and I can't tell you how many times I go through there with them, and we find trash and pollution in that area, and it's an ongoing problem. To have federal regulations removed and oversight removed is the wrong direction. We need to protect our waterways. It keeps all our lives on a much higher level. It's a quality of life thing, and it's a public health issue, and it's also keeping the beautiful environment that we enjoy here in Los Angeles. So I strongly urge your support, and please vote. Thank you.
Mr. Dowd, followed by Rick Nightingale in the Valley.
Yeah, thank you. Of course, it all sounds good. They're good things. I feel it's too little, too late. Bill Rosendahl making me sick. And here's why. Because Paul Koretz is doing it, and you're getting up trying to ride his coattails, because you got these things in your district, the Ballona wetlands and all these things. Why aren't you leading this? Because you don't do anything. You don't do anything with us. It's all talk. I don't know what's happened to my clock, but I'm starting on 2 minutes. Here's the problem, too, with this whole watershed thing. As long as you're all doing all the analyses on your computers and you're buying the laptops and the cell phones, see, people don't realize that all they got now is this little thing, and they think that's what's doing all the work. But there's servers, the internet's massive, all these components, they're building them everywhere, and all the plastic and all the mercury and barium and all these byproducts, they're just getting pumped into the atmosphere and into the ground. So once again, as long as you're on the train of technology, Tom LeBong, if you're getting the latest iPad and iPhone and all these things, you're contributing to the death of the environment. People have to slow down. That's what it is. It's all personal responsibility. These things don't do anything when there's 1 billion people buying iPhones.
In the Valley, Mr. Nightingale. Mr. Nightingale? Okay, so on this item, item 15, let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
All right, with that, we're going to go to public comment. Forthwith on that item. Can we go back to the Valley to see if Mr. Nightingale is there? He's the first card. And if he's not, let me ask Arnold Sachs to begin moving forward. Zuma Dog and Olga Hall, if you please head towards the microphone. I'm not receiving any response from the Valley, so Mr. Sachs, followed by Zuma Dog, followed by Ms. Hall. Mr. Sachs.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. Fascinating. Erosion of the water rights. We need some clean air. Environmental studies here too, especially what's said around the horseshoe. The erosion of public rights to address policymakers. We're not taking cards after the item is called. Lying, as was done on the meeting held here on the 16th. And Councilman Garcetti, I appreciate the fact that you didn't reopen public comment in your committee meeting because it had already been held or it had already been called. So where were you on the 16th? You were President Pro Tem for 10 years almost. How many meetings did you have, special meetings, that were adjourned early so that you could go back to the regular meeting and continue business in the regular meeting before you went back and voted in the special meeting? I don't believe there were any. So did you get up on the 16th when Councilman Wesson played that head game or that game and the city attorney allowed him to say, oh, we're going to put this item on hold so we can go back to the regular agenda and continue this discussion without voting in the special meeting? No, you didn't. You don't have the standards. And all we're looking for is a set of standards here. So is that the leadership you're going to bring to the city as mayor? Well, today we'll do it this way. Tomorrow we'll do it that way. I don't know. And Mr. City Clerk, I don't know who called you about that agenda, but they lied. All those items had been passed through to the city council, but Mr. Wesson wanted his own agenda. And if they had awarded you the presentation of that crown from the Thai group, they should have done it on the 15th. Then you could have worn it to the meeting regarding your redistricting as a king, Mr. Wesson.
Thank you.
Yes, Zumadog, 2012 candidate for mayor, Zumadog.com. And the past month or so, with the emphasis on the last 2 weeks, the city council has really been cracking under the pressure of Dow Dog. They can't take it. Now, the council runs up to Bill Rosendahl and says, what do we do to get him out of here? But Bill's just a spineless do-nothing. You got to talk to Carmen Tutanich. You got to talk to Carmen Tutanich. He loves us here. Because what are we doing? We're destroying you guys. Okay, so Bill wasn't here for his own roast yesterday, so let me just recap. We got somebody called Bill Rosendahl, and it's a real public safety issue in the city of Los Angeles because he suffers from a disease called Rosendahlism. Promise everything to both sides, then deliver nothing. And it all results in sidewalk cracks so big you can live under them, more homelessness than ever, police complaining to Zumadog Jesus. It's something different every year with this guy. And yeah, but gee, isn't it just great? Isn't it just great? The public comments figures, it's just great. Zumadog, you're just great. You're great. Oh, you know what? I think I want to pass a law to limit what you do. Occupy LA, it's just great. Free speech is just great. And so Bill Rosendahl, the only council member to ever pass legislation that was defeated in federal court for being a First Amendment lawbreaker of the Constitution, is now going to be the first one to pass law to try to get something done to limit the public comment speakers. What a phony, y'all. What an effing phony. He's just under Eric Garcetti, according to LA Times. Now, I'd like to say that I have a new music video. If you were here yesterday, Pat McOsker was here detailing the problems when council lies and then cuts fire services and lives are at risk. I have a new song. It's called More Than Just Stealing, to the tune of Boston at Zumadog.com. And it's more than just stealing. And you can get the rest at
Thank you. Thank you very much. Ms. Hall, followed by Michael Carrion, Henry Marine.
Good morning, Mr. President and members of the council. Are you paying attention, please? I had a speech for today, but I'm going to change it. I think we're talking about the environment. We need to be aware of what's going on. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Tuesday, Monday and Tuesday. What do I see in the sky of Los Angeles? The chemtrails. What is the chemtrails? What are we breathing? Aluminum, barium, and heaven knows what else. You think you're superior to us? No, because we all live in a fish bowl, and you, just like us, are going to be affected by it. You and your families are going to be affected by it. The rivers, the water, the soil, the air are all contaminated by all this stuff that they put in the air. What about fluoride? Are you aware of fluoride, what it does to your teeth? Supposedly to keep your teeth healthy. Well, find out what fluoride is for. It's poison. It's poison for you. It's poison for our kids. You need to do your job. What is going on? Are we being poisoned on purpose? Why? This is what you need to understand. You are in this fishbowl along with us.
Thank you. Now, if I could get Michael Carrion. Henry Marine, and Cheryl Eichley. Please come forward. Michael, you have the floor. Oh, I'm sorry, Michael. 1 second. Mr. Alarcon.
Council members, I rise on behalf of Councilmember Huizar to recognize some students who are here following the Mayor's Office staff to learn about city government, and I want to welcome them here from Roosevelt High School. They are shadowing various people from the Mayor's Office as part of their government class. So could you stand up, please?
Stand up so we can acknowledge you.
There you are. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you and welcome. Michael.
Yes, I'd just like to know whether my councilman is off sick or is he coming in late again today. Last week he was late twice. Mr. President, I thought when you took over we were going to start on time. Late again today. 10:14 and members are just getting here. They make this much money and they can't get here on time. No wonder we're going broke. In the public sector, they'd be fined. We have a member from Mr. Huizar's office here sitting down in the front row chatting all day. I wonder how Eric Martel feels when he knows that I'm here because he lied to me. Because he's a liar is the reason why I'm here. And poor Mr. Huizar has to deal with all the consequences of his employees' incompetence. Yes, I get upset when I sit in an office with the council member and he tells me, we're going to work this out. We will open a line of communication. Not 2 weeks go by. Not 2 weeks go by. And his members start lying again. I don't know. I'm confused. But then it all comes to light. Mr. LeBon stands up there telling people they're kicked out for a month. How does he sit in that seat if he doesn't know what the rules are? It's confusing, Mr. LeBon. The rules were simple. They were told to you and to everybody, and Mr. Reyes, you cannot kick somebody out for a month anymore. You're too busy worried about what's going on in the rest of the other parts of the world than to know what's going on here. Wow, I'm confused. I'm tired of coming here, but I'm not going to stop until my councilman gets off his butt and doesn't work in my community. It's not all about downtown LA. It's not all about bring back Broadway. And now Sereno, you have people here worrying about giving money out. Wait till somebody dies in El Sereno.
Thank you, Michael. Henry Marine and Cheryl Eichley.
As you know, we use a lot of acronyms in government employment, such as MOU, Make Others Understand, and KISS normally means Keep It Simple, Stupid. However, to me it means knowledge inspires sensible solutions for misunderstandings between people created at will of third parties. The letters from Judge Mooney and others reveal that the people making benefit decisions on behalf of the mayor and this council failed and refused to legally do so. The May 10th Budget Committee meeting showed that Mr. Truscott stole, prosecution funds to defend against the valid claims of 2,500 cops and any armed civilian. My councilman refused to give him another cent. However, the other four members of the Budget Committee who are not of black ethnicity gave him $2.7 million. And later we found out that Rory Couillette, an ex-policeman, got $1.5 million. And his attorney's got another $1.5 million. That means he's already in the hole. He's going to need some more money. And when you stop letting them dig us in a hole, that $2.7 million came from animal shelters and everybody in the North District. In your valley areas, you don't have regular full-time employees as custodians, except for Mr. Zahn. You got rid of all the people. It seems like you already seceded from the city of Los Angeles already. We need to bring back permanent, part-time, and full-time public employee positions. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheryl Eichley, followed by Martha Rojas, followed by Michelle 99.
Hello, my name is Cheryl Eichley. I live in District 4, and I'm a member of Occupy Los Angeles, and Occupy Fights Foreclosures is a subcommittee we started. I speak for myself today. In the Occupy movement, we have a concept called OccuFamily. I'd like to introduce you to the newest members of the OccuFamily. I don't know if you can see my new sister. She's in the back of the room in the wheelchair. She keeps crying out. Her name is Ingrid. She cannot help the cries. She's suffering from cerebral palsy, and so her cries are in agony because God or fate or whatever you want to call it didn't bless her with the kinds of bodies that you and I have. So my new sister, Ingrid, she suffers greatly and she cries out in agony. Well, there is a group of people whose actions will make my sister Ingrid's life suffer even more. Do you see the lady that is with her? That is my new mother. Her name is Derma, and she has been Ingrid's mother for 27 years now. And the house that they live in, it has been fraudulently foreclosed upon. And on Monday, my sister Ingrid and her mother were unlawfully evicted from the only home that my sister Ingrid has ever known. You see, this house isn't just any house. It is the house of this family built around my sister Ingrid's special needs. There is a ramp in the front yard so that Ingrid could get off the front steps and go into the rose garden that her family had planted for her on her 15th birthday. In their culture, quinceañera is a very special time for a young lady, and they had built a rose garden so that she could go out into the yard and walk and enjoy nature. And this family, my sister Ingrid, she can't walk very well because of it. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Martha Rojas, please come forward. Michelle 99, where are you? You'll follow Ms. Rojas. Good morning.
Good morning, Councilman. My name is Martha Rojas. I belong to Buen Hogar Foundation. We are a nonprofit. Like my sister Michelle was saying, Cheryl, I'm sorry, we're here to support Dirma Rodriguez with the baby. I call her a baby because she's practically a 1-year-old. And what's happening to her is happening to many homeowners. Especially her case is very, very special because she had refinanced a house specially to get the house conditioned for the baby. And now Countrywide Bank of America refused to help her when her payments skyrocketed up to $4,000. And she went to different agencies. All they did was take her money. And unfortunately, she lost the property in September. She did get, however, a modification for 3 trial payments. She made them on time for 15 months. And Bank of America sold her property anyway, and she was going to get evicted on Monday. And that's when Occupy LA and Buen Hogar Foundation and other foundations came to her rescue. And we were able to save her and get her back in the house. But she can be evicted anytime, and we're asking for your help, your assistance, because the baby needs this. She doesn't want to put the baby in any institution because this is her daughter that God gave her with good health, no health, but she wants to keep her daughter with her and raise her until she's old and she can stay here in this world. So we're asking for your help and your assistance, just like we're helping her. So I hope somebody will touch their heart and be able to help Ingrid in her situation. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. Michelle 99, followed by Derma Rodriguez and Matt Dowd.
Good morning, Michelle 99. I live in Council District 14. Jose Huizar is my councilman. With all of the presentations and appeals, I thank you for your kind attention to the situation of the Rodriguez family, my sister Ingrid. I just ask you not to indulge in compassion fatigue, as you are our resource. We met with the LAPD twice on Monday. They were brought into a situation that they should not have been brought into. The sheriffs were also played by Maximum Investment Properties after this family had been fraudulently handled by Golden Global. There's a lot of fraud going on with foreclosures, I'm sure you're all aware, and this is just one small example, but this is a very special and unique case in that the disability that is in this family. You'll be hearing now from my sister Dirma Rodriguez, her 3 sons, and her daughter Ingrid, and I thank you for your kind attention to this matter as you are our recourse at this point. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now, if I could get Dirma Rodriguez, Matt Dowd, and Dale, I think it's Dale Bartlett.
Buenos días, señores concejales.
Good morning, council members.
Mi nombre es Dirma Rodríguez.
My name is Irma Rodriguez.
Y yo estoy aquí para pedirles su ayuda.
I'm here to request your help.
Porque yo soy una víctima más del Banco Countrywide y America Bank.
I am one more victim of Countrywide and American Bank.
Yo refinancié para acondicionar más la casa por mi hija especial, que ella tiene toxoplasmosis, parálisis cerebral.
I refinanced because I need to recondition my house due to the disease that she suffers. Cerebral palsy.
Y yo pues comencé haciendo los pagos que ellos me dijeron.
I started doing the payments that they requested.
Después me vino una letra alta de 4,600.
Afterwards, I received a large payment of 4,600.
Y lo que me habían dejado antes era de 2,742.43 centavos.
My previous payment was 2,742 cents.
Y fui con ellos que qué pasaba.
So I went to ask them to see what was happening.
Y me dijeron que si yo no podía pagar esa letra de 4,600 que vendiera la casa.
They told me that if I couldn't make the payment of 4,600 that I should sell my house.
Y le dije, yo tengo 25 años de vivir con mi hija porque no puedo vivir en cualquier lugar.
And I told them that I was living there for 25 years and I wasn't able just to live at any place.
Y entonces me dijeron, pues véndala. Y le digo, no puedo.
They told me sell it and I told them I can't.
Entonces yo fui a una compañía para que me ayudaran a modificar.
I went to a company for them to help me modify my loan.
Y entonces me dieron el trial payment.
And they gave me the trial payment.
Y pagué 15 meses después del trial payment.
¿Qué pago fue trial payment?
3 meses de prueba.
It was a trial payment and I paid for 15 months that trial payment.
Ya 15 meses el pago era de 2,600.
And it was $2,600 with cents.
Ajá. Y estuve pagando por 15 meses. Después ya dijeron que la casa me la habían vendido el 12 de septiembre.
I made that payment for 15 months and afterwards they told me that they had already sold my house on September
12.
September the 12th at 1 p.m.
Y ellos me dijeron que ya me iban a salir la modificación permanente.
They told me that I was very close to get my permanent modification.
Y ahora el lunes 26 me sacaron los nuevos dueños de la compañía. Me sacaron los nuevos dueños de la casa.
¿Qué fecha le sacaron?
El 26, el lunes.
Monday the 26th, the new owners evicted me from the house.
A las 12.
At 12 p.m.
Entonces estaba fuera con mi niña y entonces mis amistades llamaron a los de Occupy Fundación y ellos me han ayudado.
I was outside with my daughter and then my friends called Occupy LA and they called also a foundation and they have been helping me right now.
Y gracias a Dios pues me volvieron a abrir la puerta y estoy ahorita con mi hija en la casa.
Thanks God they opened the door again so I have been able to go back with my daughter to live again in the house.
Entonces la niña desde el lunes no se está en un momento de llorar porque está nerviosa porque ella oye, no
Since Monday, my daughter haven't stopped crying because she's very nervous. She doesn't speak, but she's able to hear.
Por eso vengo a pedir su ayuda para que el banco me regrese mi casa y seguirla pagando y vivir con mi hija porque tengo 25 años y por ella me la compró el papá de ella, mi esposo, porque está muerto por 20 años y yo he criado a 5
that's what I come to ask for your help because my husband bought that house for my daughter and And he's dead already. He died 20 years ago. And I come to ask for your help for me to be able to get my house back.
Ya mi casa tiene todas las comodidades que le hice yo, tiene el handicap enfrente de la calle, la rampa, todo, y
My
ella
house
conoce muy bien su casa.
has all the modifications, the ramp in front, and it has all the modifications for her. She knows her house.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to have a representative from that council district
Mr. Weston,
meet with you on the side.
I think she lives in your district, President Weston.
Oh, it's in my district?
I think so.
What's your address, ma'am? I thought I heard you say 4.
2759 Rampo Boulevard in South Rampo.
If I could have Michael
Rampo.
or
2759
Mr. Reyes.
Let's give, can you ask them if they've had support from the Cerebral Palsy Foundation? Okay, I think there's, from Councilman Perry's office, there might be someone there.
Okay, thank you.
So if we can go to the side. Duran, they're going to the side over here.
There may be other members from their group who want to speak.
Ms. Eichley, are there other members that are here with you? Okay, so again, we had a Dale Bartlett, Sasheri Shankar. Any of those names sound familiar? So I got okay, Kevin Young. I have a Kevin Young. I have a Geneva Reese and a Summer Reese, if you guys could come forward. But I think prior to that, I did call Mr. Bartlett.
Thank you for the time. I'm Dale Bartlett with the Humane Society of the United States, and I would like to speak in support of a resolution that's been introduced by council members, I believe Koretz and Perry, for a reward leading to the capture, the arrest, and conviction of the person or persons responsible for decapitating 2 dogs and leaving the severed heads in a city dumpster. This is a horrific crime and speaks of a level of malicious depravity that has captured the city's attention. And I'll say that I feel fortunate to live in a city where it's recognized that these types of depraved criminals are a threat to our society and need to be brought to justice. So I'd like to applaud the council members for bringing that motion forward.
Thank you for coming down. So if we can now go to the rest of Ms. Eichley's group. Why don't you just come up and state your name?
Yes, sir. My name is Kevin Young.
I got you. Go on, Kevin.
All right. The reason why I'm here today is to show support for the Ortiz family. I have come across the United States from Miami, Florida, with a group of activists who have been fighting foreclosure, illegal foreclosures, all across the country. We've done several defenses in Florida, and we've partaken in this defense here in LA. And I wanted to just tell the council members that something needs to be done at the local level to fight and investigate this fraud. Because the federal government is not taking care of it. It's not happening. And this is a systemic problem that's happening all across the United States. Every single foreclosure defense that I've been a part of, which is 4 now, there has been rampant fraud throughout the entire process. There are missing documents, there are fraudulent documents, there are forged documents, there are companies that are putting different names on paperwork and getting it rubber stamped by judges, and this is happening everywhere across the country. And that you have the power to do something about it here in your city. As you've seen, the Ortiz family is going through a great struggle due to this fraudulent foreclosure. What I ask for you is to consider a moratorium on all foreclosures here in the city of LA for at least 1 year until they can be properly investigated. Because I know this is a systemic problem. This isn't just one account. These aren't isolated incidents. This is happening all across the country as we speak. In Miami today, there are 2 more homes that are being foreclosed that are ripe with fraud. In LA, I'm sure there are hundreds of homes that are up for foreclosure in this month. Okay, so this has to stop. And the only way it's going to stop is at the local level. And I implore you, you are the elected officials of LA. Please do something and stand up for your constituents. Please stop these illegal and fraudulent foreclosures from happening. So enough is enough, and somebody has to do something about this. So I implore you, I beg you, please stand up for the citizens of your community. Please stand up to the banks. Please stand up to the financial institutions that are ripping us off left and right, because we don't have the same resources and power that they do. The only resources we have is the people that we have here in front of us, our elected officials.
Thank you.
Please help us.
Thank you, Mr. Young. So if I could get Geneva Reese, Summer Reese.
My name is Geneva Reese, and I guess I want to call for the same thing, a moratorium on all foreclosure activity in the city, with an investigation by the city attorney and district attorney's office, whichever is most appropriate. We've been involved with several actions now, as well as one of our own. The common denominator with all of them is a refusal of the banks to communicate and respond when people try to contact them, and a refusal to deal with them honestly. There is fraud at the banking level, and then the scam artists come out of the woodwork and prey upon particularly people of color and immigrant communities, but I think they prey upon anyone they can get their hands on. And they deceive people, take their money, promise to do things. They end up doing nothing that's legally relevant, and the people have no hope except in you. And the courts are not enforcing the law. The police, when we have called them, have not responded and come out. We have had to occupy a fraudulent business that's working in the valley to get this woman's money and some of her legal paperwork back from them. The police didn't come for an hour and a half until they were closing the building, and we had to leave with the money and the paperwork. But I am just telling you, there's fraud everywhere. It's a scandal. It's evil. It's wrong. And it will all be on your heads because you need to stop it. You could put a moratorium in place immediately and have every foreclosure reviewed by some committee that you could call into being to do this work. And this is what we've elected you to do, to represent us, to protect us from the powerful. You are in a position of power relative to us. And you could exercise that power to stand as a buffer between us and the predators that are preying upon the entire country and are attempting to plunge it into complete despair and hopelessness. I call upon you to act with courage and do something definitive now before it's too late.
Thank you, Ms. Reese. Summer Reese.
Get personal. Mom.
And then I'm looking for Sherry, Matt Dowd, Sherry Sancar. Sherry, are you with this group? No? Okay.
Thank you.
I got you.
Thank you. Yes, my name is Summer Reese. I'm also part of Occupy Fights Foreclosures. I'm also with the media with KPFK Radio. I'm the chair of the board of the Pacifica Foundation, the radio network. I, of course, speak in my individual capacity, as we all do. As my mother was saying, the fraud, and as everyone has said, the fraud starts with the banks. We have a system that has allowed the greatest scandal to go on since the Great Depression, since the S&L crisis. Name some place where the American public is being fleeced. This is what the banking industry is doing, while the federal government is basically standing by and allowing it. At the local level, families are encountering this, and yes, the immigrant community, particularly the African American community, are being preyed upon by scam artists who come in and defraud families who are looking for help. The banks ignore them. They contact their banks for loan modifications. They get no assistance. In fact, they get the runaround. They're told to stop making their payments. I had a sheriff's officer in Roland Heights, where we were occupying a home 2 weeks ago, tell me that he himself had been told by his bank to stop making his payments, and until he, quote, pulled the law enforcement card, he couldn't get the bank to deal with him after they tried to put him in foreclosure. This is happening everywhere in your community right now. And the banks are counting on the fact that basic criminals come out of the woodworks to take these families' monies, and $5, $10, $15, $20,000 later, they have had no help dealing with the banks. They have lost all of their rights. The court system has done nothing for them. This woman, we spent on Friday with Miss Rodriguez, the mother, in Van Nuys, where I called the police myself twice over the course of an hour and a half while this fraudulent business folded down their business licenses and refused to even admit they were doing business. And we're not done with them yet. We're going to root these people settle out. The police never showed up because they don't care. On another family's case, the district attorney's office told me they are so overwhelmed with fraud complaints it takes them 3 months to do something. You must impose a moratorium. You must enforce the law here. You are the only thing standing between us and what's happening to families in Los Angeles, and you have the right to do that. A fraud is occurring in this county, and it's being allowed to continue with no law enforcement stopping it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So if I could get now Matt Dowd, Sherry Sankar, Elizabeth Orrick, please. Mr. Rosendahl, did you want to say something?
Point a privilege to the city attorney, and Mr. Alarcon is here too. We obviously, many of us, all of us, are upset to see foreclosures happening the way they are. Is there any role we can play at this level, considering our support of what we think is outrageous?
I do know the Housing Department has been investigating this, and there are several motions out there. The CLA has reported back on that. On Council File 11-1727, there's a report on this issue. So beyond that, I really can't add anything else. And it has not been agendized for discussion on today's agenda.
Yeah, but as we've talked in a legal sense, the county, the state, and the federal government, I know that their roles are more significant than us. The state attorney general has roles, and the federal government. But when that one lady spoke about we, the local government, is there anything we can do, as you see it right now, legally within what we're doing?
Again, Ms. Rosendahl, this is not on today's agenda, and so we really can't have a full discussion on this. Yeah. And all I can tell you is a council file number 11-1727. The CLA has reported on all the options. The local government's response to this is somewhat limited. But that's all I can tell you right now.
Okay. Well, thank you for that.
Bill, you may want to have your staff speak with their office or speak with Richard to see where he's going. I know Eric has done a lot of work on this issue as well. And
Great.
in HCED, there's some things, discussions. But with that said, that brings us to Matt Dowd, followed by Sherry Shankar and Elizabeth Orrick. Mr. Dowd.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, there's this wanker on Australian radio. His name's Kyle Handelands, and he just got fired from his radio program because he called some woman a slag and made some kind of threats, and he got fired off the radio for that because that's Australia. But here's why else I'm talking about it. He deserves it, ha ha ha, because you talk crap about my daughter when she was on Australian Idol, Jaden Dowd. So now he finally gets his comeuppance, and that's what happens over there. But this is the United States of America, living under the flag that people die for. So I don't want you to interfere with my public comment here. I'm going to express myself how I want to, and I'm putting you all on notice, especially the dummy LeBong. Don't say anything. Now, here's what you're doing wrong, LaBonge. I want you to listen, and Bill Rosendahl. You paid $100,000 from your city attorney to Myers Nave outside counsel, and here's what they're doing to all the performers on my lawsuit. Eric, you'll like this one. They're sending us all depositions and all these questions, making us spell out exactly what you did to them all. Here's the tip. They're all performers like me. They're musicians. They would settle without even calculating and without going through it all. You understand that? They would be happy like me to just be done with all of this bullshit and walk away.
All right, come on, Matthew.
I'm sorry, I said I want to express myself, and that was called for. Now,
no,
you're
wasn't
wasting
called
money.
for,
No, you
continue.
got fire problems, you got foreclosure problems, you got all these things, but your city attorney is worried about his DA campaign sending money to the outside counsel, which is going to hurt you because all the things these guys are writing down are damages for their jury trial. Because we got an injunction, we already won. Your dumb permit and lottery system have been trashed forever. The Misakowski-LaBonge thing from way back.
Thank you very much. Sherry Shankar, Elizabeth Orrick, and Armajan Norajanian. Welcome.
Wow. Good morning. Well, first of all, I just want to say my heart goes out to a lot of the people who appeared here this morning. And the hard times that they're going through. Well, I'm here to support a motion for a reward for that will lead hopefully to the capture of the people who abused and beheaded 2 dogs and dumped them into a dumpster. And I want to thank the ASPCA and Best Friends Society and Humane Society of the United States and Councilman Koretz and Councilmember Perry for supporting this reward. And I just want to say I support the motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Koretz, when is that motion going to be before us?
I believe the motion's before you now as a special.
Okay. Yes.
Good morning, council members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Elizabeth Orrick, resident of District 5, and I am with Best Friends Animal Society. Best Friends is one of the leading animal welfare organizations in the country. For 30 years, we've operated the largest no-kill sanctuary in the country, and recently we took over operations of the Mission Hills City Shelter. I was fortunate enough to attend the press conference this morning regarding the motion that council members Koretz and Perry will be introducing today to offer the reward leading to the apprehension of the individual or individuals responsible for that horrific animal cruelty crime that occurred in our city a few days ago. And so we thank the council for bringing forth this reward motion to really emphasize the importance of pursuing those individuals responsible for this crime. And we hope that by spotlighting this cruelty, it will help serve the many animals who are forced to silently endure this kind of indefensible abuse every day. So to lend our support, Best Friends is going to offer $2,500 to boost the reward in hopes that it will lead to a quicker resolution. And I know that my colleagues and the other 2 organizations, as well as Councilmember Koretz, have offered to supplement that reward as well. So thank you very much, and we hope that you will support the motion.
Okay, if you stick around for a few moments, we have one last public comment, general public comment card. He's coming forward. Then, Mr. Koretz, what I want to do is take your special one up immediately after Mr. Noorajanian. Yes, sir.
Good morning, City Council members. Good morning, fellow Angelinos. As a liberal Democrat and human rights advocate, I run for the seat of California State Assembly from South Central Los Angeles, so-called 59th District, for June 5th election. I invite all those my black and Hispanic constituents to vote for me, as I represent liberal reform, as I represent and I stand for social justice, racial integration, environmental protection, and technological revolution. If they vote for me, if black and Hispanic vote for me, I'm going to represent a craft legislation that will allow all motorists to receive, all applicants for driver's license, receive driver's license without disclosing their immigration status. Therefore, state government won't violate, become federal offenders, won't try to conduct foreign policy, which is the sole prerogative of the federal government. Actually, I promise to raise taxes 50% against wealthy individuals in the state of California and gasoline selling corporation or produce corporation 50% in order to remedy budget deficit and save those job of state workers and avoid layoffs. I propose to create California satellite cell phone service for rural and forested areas, territorial water of California shores. I will create legislation also to control car jams with live satellite surveillance. Also promise to provide 6 months free pregnancy leave, for all California women to have healthy children as part of prenatal care provided by the state government. I promise to make same-sex marriage lawful and to uphold civil rights of sexual minorities. And also I propose to ban so-called medical marijuana dispensaries, as they are wolf in sheepskins, and they rip off substance abusers. And actually 56% of Californians voted to ban sales of so-called medical marijuana last year, according to MSNBC report. Also, part of my campaign to fight wasteful spending, narcomafia, and corruption, I condemn overrated Los Angeles Council city members' wages.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Clerk, what do we have to do to go directly to Special 1?
Sir, I think you just did it.
All right.
Before council is Special 1, and I believe the city attorney will speak to the findings.
Please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Since the posting of today's agenda, the Animal Cruelty Task Force has requested that council offer a reward for information leading to the arrest of suspects responsible for the 2 severed dog heads that were discovered last week in a dumpster near Slauson and South Vermont. Immediate action is required to authorize the reward offer for the safety of the community. Council must first make findings pursuant to Government Code Section 54954.2 before considering the substantive motion.
Okay, let's vote on the findings at this point. So let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes, 1 no.
Okay, Mr. Koretz, we have one public comment card, and that would be Mr. Matt Dow. And after that, Mr. Koretz, it'll be up to you. Yes, sir.
Yes, of course, got to weigh in on everything. It doesn't matter, good or bad. This is a bad one, but it's kind of a good thing because the city's going to do something. Now, obviously, this is a tragic kind of a thing to happen. In all honesty, I don't fancy the chances of finding the people. I'm just going to say it how I feel, because it's been a week. You just found them in a dumpster. It's kind of just reminds me of how this city is always too little, too late on all the important things, like the budget, and like the foreclosure crisis we warned you about, and Venice Beach, and all the other things. So it makes me mad that these kind of things happen, and then the city council goes, oh, let's all be, it's like the KFI thing. You want to make yourselves look good, but you're not really doing anything.
Okay, Mr. Koretz.
Thank you, Mr. President. This motion, and I'm presenting it because I'm as the seconder because Ms. Perry stepped away. This motion is critical because this is perhaps the most heinous animal-related crime that I'm aware of in my lifetime. The beheading of 2 dogs, a chocolate Labrador Retriever and a tan German Shepherd mix, who were found beheaded in a dumpster near Slauson and Vermont Avenue. This is a heinous crime in and of itself, but we know that this kind of behavior often leads to more serious crimes. The person that did this certainly could have been a murderer in training. We want to find the perpetrator as quickly as possible, and this is one way to get some good leads. We know the city has done this before. We do rewards, and sometimes someone that they brag to, a friend or a relative that otherwise wouldn't come forward, will come forward to collect the money in the reward. We are requesting that the city provide a award of $10,000. There are 3 organizations, Humane Society, Best Friends, and ASPCA, that have each offered $2,500. I'm going to match that as well and be responsible for $2,500. So with the city's $10,000, we will have $20,000 in rewards, and hopefully that will continue to go up as organizations and individuals add to it. And we hope, as has happened in the past, that we are able to get some good leads on the perpetrator as a result of this reward and the surrounding publicity.
Thank you, Mr. Koretz. So on this item, let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay.
Mr. President, pardon me for clarification. The vote on the findings was 10 ayes, 1 no.
Okay.
Rather than 11 ayes and 1 no.
So where does that bring us at this point?
Mr. President, that brings us to items called special.
Okay, so we'll get to those items, and I'm going to have Mr. Reyes begin.
Mr. President, that brings us to item number 4 called special for cards.
Okay. So we have Zuma Dog and Superman. Superman.
All right. right, yes, worthy of a minute on Channel 35. Matt Dowd on the new street lighting installation and maintenance, Ottoman Street. Now, here's the thing. I think all the other people who are getting assessed, I've seen a lot of these come through the city council. But this one caught my eye because guess what? These guys are getting something that I haven't seen anyone else get. 3 new modern street lights. They're new modern street lights. And I've never seen that before. So all the other people, they ought to get the new modern ones, because what have you been, I think you must have been installing older antique street lights or whatever. If you have to come and actually say, oh, because I would have thought in this day and age with all the latest technology, everything's new and modern. Of course you're getting the latest street lights. So why do it strikes me that all the other people got ripped off if these are the only guys getting the new modern street lights.
See no one on the queue. Let's open a roll, close a roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
All right, next item.
That brings us to item 11, called Special for Cards.
Okay. We have Zuma Dog and Superman.
Thank you. And it's Zuma Dog, candidate for mayor 2013, and you can read more about it at zumadog.com. This is the number one issue I've spoken about over the past 6 years since I've been coming to City Hall, and it's the most important issue because it's about housing. Now, we just had some people that talk about the national level with the banks and the foreclosures, but we have our own little scam going on right here in the city locally, and it's called the LA Housing Department, and it's called the Rent Escrow Department, and it's so out of control that the FBI had to become involved. That's right. And here's some of the things I'm worried about. First of all, it benefits the city to place properties in REAP because then they receive a portion of the rent money and it goes into the city's account. So what's been happening is I've been told the outreach contractors that the city hires to go out and inspect these properties, well, they instruct the tenants how to damage the property so that they can stay in the REAP program so that the city can keep getting the money. Now, this hurts the people that rent. You say you want to keep people in homes, but if you have a corrupt city entity called the LA Housing Department that is illegally putting people into the rent escrow program, that forces homelessness. Because the people housing, the owners of the properties that house the people lose the properties. And it's all illegal. The thing that is most heartbreaking about this is an illegal RICO racket scheme. Completely fraudulent. The FBI is involved. People are going to be arrested. Roberto Adalpe, in his housing department window, his person was taking bribes for Wesson's Koreatown district. So if you have to pay people bribes, if you're getting fined illegally, if you're getting put into the rent escrow illegally, you're losing your house illegally, then people are getting kicked out of the streets illegally. Who are you trying to fool?
Thank you very much. Next speaker.
All right, nice and quiet in the city of Los Angeles. For Matt Dowd to have some public comment, we love that. The rent escrow account program, yes, Bill Rosendahl, we've talked about it a lot. FBI investigations and what I hear, housing department, fraud, taking bribes, councilmen, soliciting donations to get people off of these housing rent escrow programs and some of the other things going on with the housing department. So, yeah, FBI, 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 that's all we want to say. It's what we want to hear on Channel 35. Tom LeBonge will tell you if you say it often enough, the people will hear you. I think Ed Reyes coined it first up here at Public Comment. Sit down and don't interrupt the public of America. A soldier's probably dying in Afghanistan, so I can talk and you can sit down.
No one on the queue? Open a row, close a row, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Next item.
That brings us to item 12, called Special for Cards.
Okay, item 12, we have Zuma Dog, Arnold Sachs, and Superman. Zuma Dog, Arnold Sachs. 12.
Yeah, I'd like to take a minute on this because we want to take over $1 million to restore the bathrooms at the Hollywood Bowl. Now, I know it's never any money that comes out of the city fund. It's always coming from somewhere else, and it's some grant money, but it's being used for the bathrooms at the Hollywood Bowl. I love the Hollywood Bowl. I saw Paige Plant there, and it was excellent, and I love the Hollywood Bowl. It's a great place. But the city's getting sued for things like sidewalk cracks. If you go to Paul Koretz's district, you're going to need a new car for your tires and axle because the pothole is so bad all over the place there that the BMWs can't even withstand it. And you have all types of things that you're not doing. The sanitation, the trash is piling up. And so what are we going to do with money that is available for the city? Let's renovate the bathrooms of the Hollywood Bowl. Isn't that Jim Dandy? I'd like for the people in East L.A., I'd like all the low-income people throughout the city that aren't getting the services provided to them, that the money that could be used for something in your district, to fix your sidewalks, your potholes, to do sanitation, to keep parks, to do something, they're using it to restore the Hollywood Bowl bathrooms. Isn't that nice? Why don't we just take our wine and cheese and have a nice firework display, and then we can eat the cheese off the new bathrooms that have been restored so beautifully? That's what we should do with money that's available to the city. Restore the bathrooms at the Hollywood Bowl. The more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm getting sick.
Please lower the volume. You're being disruptive. Please lower the volume.
Okay. And I need a ruling on what the appropriate volume is, but I respect the request, and I'd like to just say, again, in case you're just tuning in, Zuma Dog mayoral candidate. If I was mayor of the city, if money was available to do anything in the city under this time, it would not be the bathrooms at the Hollywood Bowl.
Thank you. Arnold Sachs. Superman. Okay. See no one on the queue. Let's open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Next item. Forthwith.
That brings us to item 14, called Special for Cards.
Okay, we have Zuma Dog on item 14. No one on the queue. Let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Next item.
Item 17, called Special for Cards.
Arnold Sachs is not here. We have Armanak Norjadian. Come on up.
Good morning, City Council members. Good morning, fellow Angelinos. Actually, I endorse Resolution 17, a resolution proposed by Council members Cardenas and Wesson, relative to regarding adopting 38th Consolidated Housing and Community Development Action Plan. In that action plan, actually, there is an amendment to allocate $40,000 from a Vision Theater renovation project, to ICF Johnson Stokes. I understand this firm, law firm, some kind of law firm, to conduct monitoring compliance with federal and state historic preservation requirements. It's a pretty good idea, and I believe that maybe $40,000, maybe will probably ample amount of fee, to pay for to that company, ICF Stokes. But again, we need to do competitive bidding, respect competitive bidding, and maybe some of our companies, law firms will offer more high quality services and stuff like that. And I just cannot ram it to one company because that company might be, not necessarily have the right kind of expertise the City of Los Angeles needs. Also, I believe that, it's pretty good proposition, it's pretty good proposition. And actually, community development and housing and community development consolidated plan need to exist. But as long as I know, as a guy who's actually signed up for that Section 8 housing, City Section 8 housing, I know that they shut down, that even closed that down, that Housing, because you guys didn't, council members didn't raise taxes in failed proposition no. Didn't raise tax against gasoline selling and oil producing corporations. We're supposed to be proposition no, supposed to pass, but 49% at least of Angelians voted for proposition.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. We do have one speaker on the queue, Councilor Krikorian.
This matter, though.
Not in this matter.
No.
Okay.
So finish this, and then if you can come back to it.
All right. So let's open the roll. Do we have any more speakers on this? That's it. Okay. Let's close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay.
Mr. President, there's been a request to send that matter forthwith.
Forthwith? As requested.
Very good, sir.
So, next item?
Yep.
Did you want to speak, Councilor Krikorian?
Yeah, just for purposes of an introduction, Mr. President, if I may, I wanted to take a moment to introduce Mia Ehrenberg. Mia is a student at Campbell Hall in my district. She's a freshman who lives in Toluca Lake. She has a very strong interest in government and the law and in journalism, and so she's shadowing me today. She took a day off of school to see what life is like as a city council member, so she's joining us here today. Mia was the 2010-2011 Secretary General of the YMCA Model United Nations program for all of California, and she's now an active participant in the Youth and Government program as well. So I'm very pleased to welcome Mia here to join us in Council. Mia Ehrenberg.
Thank you for that introduction, Councilor Krikorian. Next item.
Item 18 called special for cards.
Okay, Arnold Sachs is not here. Matt Dowd. Armanak Narajian. Okay.
All right, yes, good item, this one, of course, because like Eric Garcetti, I probably got bullied. I did get bullied a lot at high school. Here's how I know about it, Eric, because I turned down the Rhodes Scholarship because I just wanted to go home every night. It was so bad. I was so young and I was the smart kid. You know, and all the other kids were older than me because I got pushed up when I was young. So I understand what it's like, but then here's what happened again. I thought I was over all the bullying until Bill Rosendahl sent LAPD onto me at the beach. So that's why this strikes a nerve with me, and that's why I'm here. Still. Because I'm not going to let any attorney say, oh, gee, your First Amendment wasn't very important because you stopped coming and you didn't care about it anymore. Now, I do care about it, just like Martin Luther King and all you gay activists and all the animal activists and all the other people out there. Well, guess what? I'm not going to be bullied by the police. And you've seen that. And it's all on the internet, the harassment. They keep coming because they got beat and they didn't like it. Just like Tom LaBonge doesn't like it when he loses. It's an old football thing. And that's what Bill Rosendahl's doing to you every single day because you're getting bullied, just like Paul Krikorian's trying to bully me
Mr.
into
President,
having
he is not talking about
sensitivity,
this item.
just like him, because he's Mr. Sensitive, Mr. Warm and Fuzzy that makes me vomit because he doesn't understand what the fuck we're here
Hey,
for.
watch that language. Disrupting the medium. You're disrupting the meeting, sir.
No.
We have him. Let's escort the gentleman out, please. Watch that language. He is now leaving the chamber
Still disrupting.
and still disrupting the meeting. Good day, sir.
Good morning, City Council members. Good morning, fellow generals. Actually, I endorse Resolution 18. Endorse Resolution 18. It's actually a resolution proposed by Council members Perry and Rosendahl relative to request to waive room rental costs associated with the use of Los Angeles Convention Center for the staff VPN Teen Summit on dating violence and bully prevention. Actually, it's a very good idea to resign those room rental costs, you know, in order to allow that convention, to take place, because for those guests at least get free rooms, I understand it will maybe that way. Because it's, we stop with pain, teen summits on days violence, serve the public benefit and purpose, in that it provides an opportunity for middle-class high school college students to learn about teen dating, violence, bullying, life skills, and participate in various workshops. It's a very good idea. We'll teach California and Los Angeles youth, to teach new skills, to learn new skills, to tell the experiences of dating, bullying, being victim of a bully or being bullied oneself. It goes both ways. For those youngsters. Well, actually, approval of fee waiver is a very good idea because most of those youngsters are poor and maybe come from unprivileged families. And they cannot maybe to incur the fees, associated with renting at kind of Los Angeles Convention Center. Well, actually, it's I hope that such events as Stop the Pain, Teen Summit of Date Violence and Bullying Prevention will keep occurring themselves. But all those events, they need the kind of financing. They need that money, to...
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Mr. Dog, we did locate your card for item 17, so we will reconsider item 17 at this time.
Mr. President, we should first vote on item 18.
Let's vote on 18. Let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, now we can jump back to 17.
Mr. President, that would first require a vote for reconsideration. Then the item will be before you.
Well, let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Item is now in front of us. Mr. Dog.
And thank you for reconsideration. They forgot to call my card. I appreciate it. Now, this is very important because we're talking about the Housing Community Development Plan, and it says Cardenas-Wesson. So right off the bat, it's like Snoop and Dre of the two shady factions in the city teaming up here. So I'm very concerned. Here's some things to look for. First of all, what numbers were used for this community plan? Because it's come to my attention in the Hollywood community plan that they are like switching back and forth between census numbers and SCAG numbers, which SCAG is just, it's like using modeling projections of the fire department as opposed to real census. So I want to make sure real numbers are being used for this. And I'm hearing laughter in Tony Cardenas. Tony Cardenas is laughing. Oh my gosh, the reason I'm concerned about this is because Tony Cardenas is the king of RICO racketeering contracting. The reason city workers...
Mr. President, he's not talking about this item.
Please address the council.
This is the item. And I'd like to say to the city workers, the reason they don't have jobs is because Tony Cardenas contracts out all the contracts with mafia cronies.
Thank you very much.
Doesn't get work. And the guy's under FBI investigation.
Thank you very much. This last minute is down. Okay, see no one on the queue. Let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Next item.
Mr. President, that brings us to special number 2. I believe the city attorney will speak to the findings.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will recite the facts as presented to me by the maker of the motion for the council's consideration of the adequacy of the findings. Since the posting of today's agenda, representatives of the nonprofit organization Friends of the Hollywood Cap Park informed city staff of the United States Secretary of Transportation's suggestion, resulting in a determination that DOT should apply for the Caltrans Community-Based Transportation Planning Grant before the April 2nd deadline for the CAP project. Immediate action is required in order to finalize the application documents before the April 2nd deadline. Council must first make findings pursuant to Government Code Section 54954.2 before considering the substantive motion.
On the findings?
Just on the findings, yes, I can give you a little bit more detail. On this special, we're going to take up special 3 in a second. The folks that are in my district working on a cap park over Hollywood Boulevard just met with Secretary of Transportation Ray LaHood in Washington, D.C. While there, he alerted them to 2 different grants for different parts of Hollywood right now to be able to get some planning money for this. So it came to our attention. The deadline is right away as soon as they came back from Washington. So I asked for your support. That's how we found out about it. Just found out about it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. The findings on the findings. So let's open the roll, close the roll, tally the vote.
11 eyes.
And now on the substance of the matter. We're good? Okay, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tally the vote.
11 eyes.
Okay.
Mr. President, that brings us to Special 3. I believe, again, the City Attorney will speak to the findings.
Okay. City Attorney?
Thank you, Mr. President. Since posting of today's agenda, following information received from the nonprofit group Friends of the Hollywood Cap Park Project, city staff was made aware of the April 2nd deadline for the Caltrans Environmental Justice Context Sensitive Planning Grant, that the funds would be available for improvements along the Santa Monica Boulevard retail corridor. Immediate action is required to finalize the documents before the April 2nd deadline. Council must first make findings pursuant to Government Code Section 54954.2 before considering the substantive motion.
Okay, on the findings, let's open the roll, close the roll, tally the vote.
11 eyes.
Okay, now on the substance of the matter. So no one on the queue. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tally the vote.
11 eyes.
Okay.
Mr. President, would you like to suspend both Special 1 and Special 2 forthwith?
Yes.
Very good.
And item 17 as well, to make sure.
Very good. Item 17 as well, sir.
Okay. So, what's next?
Mr. President, that brings us to item 22.
22?
Mr. President.
Yes.
Item 22 is payment of attorney's fees on a judgment. Unless any member has any question, there's no need for us to go into closed session. We can resolve this in open session right now.
Okay.
Budget and Finance Committee actually, let me just check if we heard this or waived it. I don't recall. Yeah.
It was waived.
So anyway, I would respectfully ask for your aye vote on the recommendation.
Okay. Seeing no one on the queue?
Mr. President, before voting on the matter, if I may first read the recommendation.
Okay.
In the case entitled Mario Patrick, David Bomer, Dennis Wildy, and others versus City of Los Angeles, there's a recommendation for payment of attorney's fees and costs on appeal in the amount of $241,838.24.
Okay, seeing no one on the queue, let's open the roll, close the roll, tally the vote.
11 eyes.
Forthwith? Oh, okay. Forthwith on that matter. What's next, Mr. Clerk?
Mr. President, Council has motions for posting and referral.
Post and referred?
But the desk is clear.
Okay. Any announcements, members? I do have one announcement. I just wanted the city family to know and my colleagues that the Dodge organization is moving forward. It looks like Magic Johnson led with a group of investors are now going through the process, are one of the finalists, and it sounds like the Magic Johnson led group will be one of the groups to be considered at a major level, and we'll know by the end of April. So that's good news for the city of LA, and seeing this transition and continuing to work in our communities and upholding this great iconic organization we call the Dodgers. Any other announcements?
There, I think not only Magic Johnson was a great athlete, he's a great sports fan, a great humanitarian, and that team hopefully will be able to do what we all want and what the Dodgers have always wanted, a great opportunity for people to enjoy baseball. So let's hope it all works out.
Let's keep our fingers crossed. Okay. No other announcements? Adjourning motions? Please stand. Everybody please stand in the chamber. Let's start right over here. Councilor Cardenas.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, members. It's with great sadness that I announce the passing of Edward Terrazas Acevedo. Many of you know his son, James Acevedo. Edward passed away on March 18th, 2012. He was in the hospital and he fell ill and succumbed to his illness. And it was heart failure that he passed away from. He graduated from Garfield High School in East Los Angeles College and Cal State Los Angeles with a Bachelor of Arts in Education. and a retiree of Pacific Bell. He was a union organizer with Communication Workers of America, and he was an all-city starting point guard at Garfield High School basketball team. He achieved the lifelong dream of teaching for LA and Alhambra school districts, and he leaves behind Elvia Rios, his wife of 62 years, and his son James, his daughter Diane, his son Steve, his son Robert, and grandchildren Samantha, Lillian, Jacob, Jonathan Acevedo.
I'd like to second that.
Yeah. My name is Ron.
Thank you. Councilmember Englander?
No.
Okay.
To add my name. Second.
Okay, second by Councilmember Englander and Councilmember Garcetti. Any adjourning motions on this side? Councilmember Labange.
I ask we adjourn in memory of Charlie Britton. Charlie Britton was a staffer to Marvin Browdy, 11th District. Mr. Rosendahl, if you join me, born in 1948, loved his work. Maybe you, Richard, you may remember when you were here with Mr. Bradley. Charlie Britton went too early in life, former deputy to Marvin Browdy.
And joined by Councilmember Rosendahl.
Make one comment. When you look at what Marvin accomplished, you know staff plays a major role in all of those things, the bike path and preserving the mountains. It's really a collective leadership that makes us do our job. May he rest in peace.
Thank you, Councilman Rosendahl. Any other adjourning motions? Seeing none, this meeting is adjourned. Have a good evening.